Paris, city of bridges, city of lights, city of art. It is also a capital of fashion, city of love. But most importantly, it is the city of revolutions. Let's look at the story of Paris, a city that has endured, transformed, and inspired over 2000 years. Around 300 BC, the Parisii, a Celtic tribe, settled on Scenes Islands. They built wooden huts and lived by fishing and river trade. This was the first foundation of what would later become Paris. In 52 BCE, Julius Caesar's legions defeated the Parisii and built Lutetia, the first name given by Romans to Paris. The town became part of the Roman Empire and later changing its name to Parisius. By 3rd century BC, Saint Denis brought Christianity to Paris. In the year 476, the Western Roman Empire crumbled. Paris, once a Roman jewel, now stood at the threshold of a new chapter, the dawn of the medieval world. By 508 CE, Frankish king Clovis took Paris under his control. Paris started gaining more importance for the next few centuries. In 845, Viking raiders sailed up the Seine and attacked Paris. The city was plundered. In 987, Hugh Capet was crowned the King of France. He made Paris the capital of his dynasty. In 1150 CE, the University of Paris was formed. In the 12th century, Notre Dame Cathedral construction has begun. The cathedral played a central role in Paris' religious and cultural life for many centuries to come. By the 1300s, Paris was not only a city of kings and cathedrals, but also of love and poetry. The stories of knights and maidens stirred imaginations. In 1347, the plague reached Paris. The Black Death killed a large part of the city's population, leaving social and economic scars. By 1420, the 100 Years' War culminated in English occupation of Paris. Not too far away from Paris, in the shadow of the 100 Years' War, a young peasant girl emerged with a voice that would change France forever. Joan of Arc, claiming divine guidance, inspired armies and revived French and Paris spirit. However, in 1431, Joan of Arc was executed, but her trial and condemnation were linked to Paris. She was declared a heretic by the University of Paris. Her death later became a symbol of French unity and resistance. In 1469, the first printing press was installed at the Sorbonne. This marked the beginning of Paris as a major center of knowledge. In the 1500s, during the reign of Francis I, Renaissance art and architecture flourished. Paris saw Italian influences in its palaces and streets. Artists and scholars brought new energy to the city. Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa entered the French royal collection in 1519. It became the most famous painting in Paris and the world. Yet, with light came shadow. Protestants and Catholics clashed in a bloody conflict. The streets of Paris echoed with cries of faith and fury. culminating in the Saint Bartholomew's Day massacre. In 1594, King Henry IV triumphantly entered Paris, marking the end of decades of religious strife. His rule brought hope and renewal to a fractured city. Soon after, the construction of Luxembourg Palace began. It is a symbol of royal authority and Renaissance elegance, blending grandeur with a vision of lasting peace. In 1648, again, France was engulfed in the Fronde, a series of violent uprisings against the royal authority. In 1658, the grandeur of French culture shone at the Palais Royal as Molière's latest play captivated audience with wit and brilliance. This period also saw the opening of Paris Opera. In 1682, Paris faced a minor setback when King Louis XIV moved the royal court from Paris to Versailles. However, that did not deter Paris. Paris became a hub of enlightenment and thought. Thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau challenged the authority. Their ideas helped what was to come for the next 100 years. In 1780s, Paris stood at the heart of kingdom divided. The nobility lived in luxury while the peasants and workers bore the heavy weight of taxes. Bread, the lifeblood of poor, grew scarce and costly, sparking anger in crowded markets and city streets. Enlightened thinkers filled salons and cafes with bold new ideas of liberty, equality, and justice. The gap between privilege and poverty widened. Paris became a city ready to erupt. On the morning of 14th July 1789, the people of Paris rose in defiance. Hungry, restless, and determined, they marched to the gates of Bastille, an ancient fortress that symbolized royal tyranny. After hours of fierce struggle, the walls fell. The prison's gates swung open, not just releasing captives but also unleashing a revolution. The fall of Bastille echoed far beyond Paris, marking the birth of a new France. From the chaos of revolution, a soldier rose. Napoleon Bonaparte, a brilliant commander, seized the imagination of France with his victories on the battlefield. In 1799, he took power and Paris became the heart of an empire that stretched across Europe. Under his rule, order was restored, laws codified, and monuments built, as the city gleamed with ambition and glory. But his wars drained France, and the tide of history turned against him. Defeated at Waterloo in 1815, Napoleon's empire crumbled. In 1830 and 1848, Paris witnessed further revolutions, people demanding further liberties and freedoms. From this chaos, the Second Republic was proclaimed in 1848, and Paris once more stood at the heart of European struggle for freedom. In the mid-19th century, Paris was transformed under the vision of Baron Haussmann. Though costly and controversial, Haussmann's work made Paris the modern capital of Europe, the city of lights as we know today. After France's defeat in the Franco-Prussian War in 1871, citizens again revolted and seized control of the city. Yet another revolution in the history of Paris. From 1880s, Paris witnessed a semblance of peace for some time. With the opening of Eiffel Tower, metro, and organizing Olympics, Paris was slowly settling down.
Joyeuse ronde, le cœur plein d'espoir, je chante pour le monde. Les fleurs s'éveillent sous mes pas légers. En ce doux printemps d'antan, l'âme est enchantée.
In 1940, Germany occupied the city during the World War II. Paris endured 4 years of struggle, and finally, in 1944, it was liberated by the Allied forces. After the World War II, Paris slowly recouped and redeveloped. Paris focused and continued to evolve with architecture, culture, and politics. By early 60s, Paris became the world capital of fashion. Paris Fashion Week established the city as the center of global style. Paris became both a global tourist capital and a symbol of modern Europe.
This is a great day for France.
In the decades after World War II, immigrants flooded Paris from across the world. Their cultures enriched the city with new voices, foods, and traditions. But their presence also fueled tensions as Paris struggled to balance diversity, identity, and belonging. In 2024, the Olympic flame returned to Paris, a century after it last lit the city. Athletes from around the globe gathered under the shadow of Eiffel Tower, uniting nations in sport and spirit. Through tribes and empires, kings and revolutions, Paris has endured. It has risen from the ashes, rebuilt from wars, and reinvented itself for every age. Paris is not just a city of history, it is a city of tomorrow, and the story is far from over.